Outside Lagos, ports in other states of the country have potentials which seem stifled by various challenges which include infrastructural.
We felt that Calabar Port is strategically placed to enable such trade. We feel that it's important for the country to establish that, while also appreciating some of the concerns within the route. Calabar Port is one of the ports that is closest to the northeast part of the country. There's a highway and expressway that needs to be built to link Calabar to the northeast through Katsina Ala, through Benue State. That road would be critical to enhancing trade and exportation and importation through Calabar ports. If you have a situation where that road is built, we're going to have significant amount of agri-produce being transported using that route and exported through the Calabar ports. In the same manner, Pt.2 coming through Calabar ports would now have an access and evacuation to the hinterland using that medium. We've communicated the need to the Minister of Power Works and Housing to consider putting that road in the 2017 budget. There's a need for us to relook at our channel management company. The channel management company is providing dredging services to ensure that our drafts are deep. Deepening the drafts will enable larger vessels to come in and berth in those locations. And we met on ground a joint venture agreement on dredging of Calabar Channel, where we're looking at the dredging, we're looking at the cost of the capital dredging, we're looking at some of the dredging work that were claimed to have been done, and to review that and then put in place a mechanism for sustained dredging of the channel. This is a very important part, and it cuts across Warri Port. They also have a very shallow draft. We're also looking to institute management for the channel dredging and maintenance of that location. While we look at the provision for dredging, it's also important to link it up with the projected revenue because of the cost that is applicable to ensuring that the drafts are deep. As we conclude on this initiative, we will run the numbers to determine how much revenue is projected that will come to this port vis-a-vis the funds that will be deployed to dredging and having the drafts deep enough to have vessels coming up. Within our 2017 budget, we've put in place provision for such, and we're doing studies to determine this relationship, and then we would commence the respective dredging as provided from the report.
Apart from the specifics, the Nigeria Ports Authority is planning to review its terms of concession and how committed the parties involved have been, and all this is to smoothen the rough edges. The concession of the port has often been cited as one of the success stories. Many agree that this gateway for international trade for Nigeria is more effective than it was before it was concessioned. For instance, report says that the Nigeria Ports Authority generated about $140 million in 2005, which was before the concessioning. This rose to over $450 million from Lagos Port in 2014. Also, turnaround time in 2005 at the Lagos Port Complex and Tinkan Port was 10.0, while vessel waiting time was 3.0. By 2014, the times have moved to 4.9 and 1.3 respectively. There's also the average berth occupancy rate, which used to stand at 75% in 2006, but jumped to 83% in 2014. Diversification and specialization by terminal operators have led to introduction of modern equipment and better services to investment. However, the terms have not been reviewed in a decade to meet with today's needs.
We believe that port development needs to be guided by a certain document, certain parameters that would ensure that certain infrastructure are put in place. That assignment is ongoing. The consultant has been retained. He should submit his reports within the next 2 months. The draft final report was submitted to us, but it wasn't good enough. There are a lot of challenges within the report, which we are working actively to ensure that they are resolved.
These adjustments are also to encourage exports, which increased 9.9% year-on-year to over 747 million naira in September 2016, considering the third quarter of the year. However, this is low as the NPA says that 90% of the cargoes that come into the country go back almost empty.
We've developed our standard operations procedure that prioritizes export of agri-produce, which details our own path, our own procedures, and we've simplified the process and we've prioritized for the agri-produce. Indeed, there's a presidential committee on ease of doing business that is chaired by the vice president. This committee is working on easing business inflow and outflow into the country. Nigerian Ports Authority and other agencies of government that are part of the linkages on export and import of items are in that committee, and there's priority on delivering on some of our respective tasks to ensure that people are able to import and export their produce in a very efficient manner, and priority is given to export. The central bank and all agencies of government are part of that presidential committee on ease of doing business that is charting a course to ensure that we have clear priority, clear ease path for export of produce. To circulate and intimate to the farmers that this is what we have for priority consideration of agri-produce. We think it's important for us as a country to put in place a procedure which enhances our exportation. We felt the need to also expand on exportations of solid mineral and all manners of items for export. During my visit to Calabar, I had noted the need to expand on the trade route into the Gulf of Guinea. We have communicated our findings to the Federal Ministry of Trade and Investment to institute a trade relationships.
And terminal operator Wolfgang Schneider says his terminal has been engaged in agricultural products.
Most of the export from Nigeria so far is going in containers. For instance, cocoa. Cocoa have been shipped all the years in containers. Now, fortunately for us, we have the first shipment of cocoa in break bulk. That means the bags are being brought into the port. We may pre-slung the bags, that we are lifting 25 bags in one heave, in one hook, and then loaded on board the ship, which you can see here in port. And we are preparing for that one. It's a trial shipment, and if it's successful, we will get more cocoa and hopefully get more cocoa for the season, which is now from December to February. And we are counting on that we are successful and that we are being part of the export, which is very important.
Apart from agriculture, there are efforts to develop other areas of exports. And the port master plan, which the NPA says it would revisit or to answer and deal with other issues that concerns the running of the ports in the country.
Part of the master plan is designation and understanding of the layout of port development. We were inundated with requests for deep sea port. It's important that we note these developments and put them in an appropriate location. We need to be mindful of environmental challenges. We need to be mindful of traffic and congestion. We need to be mindful of competition within the respective deep sea ports and port development proposals that we're receiving. The master plan would guide this request for ports so that this document now stipulates clearly the locations where it will be most favorable to siting ports and ensuring that all of these ports are linked with other transportation nodes, ensuring that the rail line is being connected to the port, ensuring that every other transportation node is connected. And just to take us back a bit to the Apapa decongestion, we believe that in order to reduce that, the Ministry of Transportation and the Nigerian Ports Authority and the Nigerian Railway Corporation need to put in place a plan to ensure that a percentage of our cargo are evacuated through the rail within a certain period. We have seen ongoing concession of the rail. We are keen to partner with that concession to have in place a deployment of rail infrastructure into our ports.
Well, that's our big story. Watch it as many times as you want online at any time. Drop your comments on our social media platforms. We would really love to hear from you. I'm Amy Thompson.